Hey guys, this is Sports with Dylan. I am back with a third video, but thankfully it is not about the Chicago Blackhawks. There have been numerous trades and re-signings today, and I figured it was going to be short each video if I made one about each. So why not just cram them all into one video? First of all, Kris Letang was re-signed by the Pittsburgh Penguins. This isn't much of a shocker. Reports that he's going to be re-signed have been circulating around for the past week. He is a strong presence and a good team leader for the Penguins, so it makes all the sense in the world that they would keep him on that team. And he's still playing at a fairly high level for his age. He's 35. And he was signed to a 6-year contract, but he will not be playing out the whole remainder of that contract. I can guarantee it. Now, what this does make interesting is the Malkin situation, because those reports have been less enthusiastic for the Penguins side. It sounds like he might actually leave in free agency, which is surprising given how much of a history he's had with the Penguins and how well he's played with Sidney Crosby. But now that they're using up so much cap space on Kris Letang, they might not even be able to afford Malkin. Plus, Malkin's also 35, a good team leader, and a good player when skating. But most of the time he's not, because he's injured very frequently. So it's tough to say whether they'll re-sign Malkin. I'm not sure though where exactly he would go, given again the history in Pittsburgh and how well he's played with Crosby, although it would be really funny if he went to the Capitals for a couple reasons. First of all, Penguins and Capitals are rivals. Second of all, either Sidney Crosby or Alexandar Ovechkin are the two best players so far in the 21st century. Could be either. You don't know who's the best. And if Malkin went to the other side, that would be funny to watch. Also, both of them were drafted the same year as the first and second overall picks, and both are Russian. So it would be kind of funny if Malkin went to the Capitals. But I don't think the Capitals need another injury-prone older player. What they really need is a younger player who can step up and make a difference, but be on the roster 5 years' time. Next up, Alexandar Georgiev was traded to the Colorado Avalanche. Now this move is quite a bit more interesting, because Alexandar Georgiev is a really good goalie, but he's not Igor Shesterkin. So he's just sitting in Igor Shesterkin's shadow instead. But he could easily be a starter on plenty of other teams. And Darcy Kuemper is going to be a free agent. Now, I thought that the Avalanche were going to go to re-sign Kuemper. But it would also make sense to go for a younger, cheaper option who can easily be just as good. And that's what it seems like they're doing. Because Georgiev is too good to be a backup. And they also have Pavel Francouz, who's a really good backup. So it wouldn't make sense to have Kuemper, Georgiev, and Francouz all on the roster. But they can now get a younger, cheaper option and at goalie, and now they can spend more time trying to re-sign Kadri, which is more important than Kuemper. That leaves a couple places Kuemper could go. I think one bet is Toronto, but I'm not so sure. You see, Toronto doesn't have a ton of cap space, and Kuemper's 32 and can be here and there sometimes. I compare him to kind of a better version of Mike Smith, or Mike Smith when he's 32. He can play great sometimes, especially in the playoffs. He can step up from time to time, but then he has the mind-blowingly awful game when you just wish you had a better goalie. So it's tough to say who will re-sign him, because he's going to demand quite a bit of money. which most teams don't have, and yet he's 32. So, I'm not quite sure, but we'll have to wait. Free agency is coming up soon. Another goalie, though, went off the market. Marc-André Fleury was re-signed by the Wild on a 2-year contract. That surprises me. There are rumors that he was long gone. In fact, probably going to retire. He's 37, so he could be playing till 39 if he plays through this whole contract. You could tell his quality of play is still pretty good, but it's not what it was a couple years ago in Vegas, or even longer ago, definitely in Pittsburgh. So, I'm a bit surprised that he's still in Minnesota. And also, don't forget that the Wild have Cam Talbot, who's a solid starting goalie. But he's also 35, so we'll see what happens to him. It wouldn't shock me if he retires this offseason, and then you've got Fleury and whoever else they try and bring in as the backup. The next couple trades are both from the NHL draft. And the first one I'm going to talk about, I'm kind of disappointed about, being an Oilers fan, but it sort of needed to be done. Zack Kassian and the Oilers' first-round pick was traded to the Coyotes for the 32nd overall pick, which was acquired from the Avalanche earlier. Now, Zack Kassian was a good player, and the biggest thing for the Oilers is that he could fight. And that's what they need. They don't truly have another fighting presence like them. Now, they have Evander Kane, but the problem with Evander Kane is that he gets called so often already. The refs always have an eye on him, which means he can't get away with the little things that Kassian can. The only other guy that sort of fights from time to time, besides Evander Kane and Zack Kassian on the Oilers, is Josh Archibald. And Josh Archibald and Evander Kane are both free agents, so we'll see what happens with that. But the problem was that Zack Kassian had a large cap hit, and the Oilers don't have a ton of cap space, so it makes so much sense to ship out Zack Kassian, despite the fact that he's a good player. And the Coyotes have so much cap space, and they just got a higher-up pick, so it's a good deal for them, except for the fact that now they have a bit less cap space. But what I could see happening is that the Coyotes now release Zack Kassian, because they have no need for him. He's a 33-year-old player that gets injured frequently enough. And they're a team, as I've mentioned in my past 2 videos, they're right down here in the rebuild. They're not going anywhere anytime soon, which means he's not going to do much for that team. So then, if he gets released, the Oilers could potentially go and re-sign him from there. But we'll have to see. The other move was a cap dumping move, but the player that was traded will contribute to the team. Petr Mrázek was traded to the Blackhawks, along with the Maple Leafs' first-round pick for a second-round pick. This is another Blackhawks trade. I know I said in the intro it's not about the Blackhawks. It's not entirely, but another Blackhawks trade. Man, they have been busy today. But at least this one made the team a bit better. Petr Mrázek is a solid goalie when he's not injured, which he has been quite a bit this past year. And the Maple Leafs went and signed him to this huge contract because they weren't sure what Jack Campbell was going to do. If he's going to be great or if he's just going to be mediocre. So they thought Mrázek could compete for the starting job, which he did in training camp. And then he got injured and spent the whole rest of the season as a backup. But the Blackhawks desperately need a goalie. And when Mrázek is healthy, he is a solid starting goalie. So I think this was a good deal for the Blackhawks. They now have plenty of cap space. But at the same time, I would have gone for someone younger and less injury prone. Someone really young on the market. That would have been way better, because that's what they seem to need. Or no one, honestly, given that they're shipping out all their other players. Just stick with Kevin Lankinen for now. Get the number 1 overall pick. But we'll see what the Blackhawks do. Again, like I mentioned in my past couple videos, which I have links to in the description, Toews and Kane are probably both getting shipped out very soon. But we'll have to see. Free agency, like I said, starts on the 9th. That's when the negotiating period is, but teams sign players. just not official. And then on the 13th is when you can actually start signing players, and it actually counts. But for now, I will probably see you guys again tomorrow with another Sports with Dylan video, given how many moves have happened today, and the draft continues tomorrow. But for now, thanks for watching.